God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is everybody on?
I am. Alvin?
I think so.
On
I
here.
see everybody under,
Oh, the reason I asked that, I don't see Alvin, don't see Matt on my computer.
Yeah, Matt disappeared from my screen too, but it says that he's here.
I'm here.
Okay.
There he is.
I see Matt.
Okay, let's move on to the agenda approval. Are there any additions to the agenda?
Just, I have one for items tabled pending. To check with Matt if he had any communication on the Jake breaking with MDOT.
Or is that just a discussion point for Matt? Or is it an agenda item?
Well, that was a item tabled from previous discussion.
Number 2 under tabled.
Yeah, I can talk about it whenever you'd like. I don't think there was any action taken on it at all, so I don't think it was officially tabled, but I can talk about it whenever you want.
Okay, entertain a motion.
I'll entertain a motion to accept the agenda as is.
Is there support?
Well, support.
A motion and support. Okay, Sarah?
Eschenbacher,
Yeah.
Paul,
Yes.
Jones Holibut. Jones Holibut,
What's the motion?
He's frozen.
to approve the agenda as presented.
It's not working well.
No.
Rick Walt,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Zavitz,
Yes.
Mayor Green.
Yes, motion carried. Are there any public comments or communication? Sarah, did you receive any?
I did not receive any. I do not see any either.
Okay. Okay, let's move on to communications then. DDA minutes unapproved, September 9th, page 2. Parks and Rec minutes unapproved, September 16th, pages 3 through 5. Tuscola Airport community benefit assessment, page 6. And Tuscola County EDC working projects, page 7. Are there any questions on any of them or comments? Hey, I don't know if everybody read that airport assessment.
I did.
This is done by FAA and stuff. It shows that it brings into our community about $3.6 million a year the airport does. It benefits. And if you look at the EDC working projects in the last go around in the Caro area or Bardwell's area, 29 businesses received, if they complete the grant paperwork, they're going to receive dollars. And then once the grant paperwork is completed, the list of them will be given out. Okay, moving on. Any other comments on any of the other items or questions?
Just that the Parks and Rec minutes never mentioned that I did catch the end of that meeting.
I'll add that in and submit it to them that way. I have you in the present line, but I'll make a note.
Okay, as long as I'm in there, I guess I didn't read that line, so.
Okay.
As long as I'm listed present at some point in the minutes.
Okay. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. Regular council minutes of September 8th, pages 8 through 12. Personnel committee minutes, page September 10th, page 13. Invoices, page 14 and 15. Department heads reports, police report, pages 16 through 23. Fire report, page 24. Code enforcement report, page 25 through 27. DPW water reports, page 28 through 32. Wastewater treatment, pages 33 through 36. And municipal parking, page 37. Are there any questions on them?
We've talked about this before and it's just kind of been poo-pooed. But the report from DPW is terrible. It doesn't give us one clue of what kind of timetable they've spent doing anything. And I'm sorry, but I read down through this and I want to say, and what did they do the other 3 weeks of the month? We've got to have a better report from DPW of what they're doing, what their schedule is. This is terrible.
If you give me until we get to the next public comment section, Joe, I will
Yes.
bring that up, okay?
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
And also on either the public works, water, or the sewer, I don't see any follow-up or information about our problem with arsenic. Why it happened, because that was an expensive learning education for somebody. I hope it was 150,000. What happened, why it happened, and what are the plans to solve it so it won't happen again? We need a report on that. That should be in there someplace pretty soon.
Yeah, that's coming up, but they're still working on all the details of that. We sent some samples out and got them back, and now Curtis and Jeff need to sit down and talk about it, but Curtis is on vacation right now.
Hey, Sarah, I had a question on invoices. Because at first I thought CoreLogic might have something to do with like water or sewer or some DPW something. But then there's one for CoreLogic real estate tax, and now I'm really confused.
Yeah, there's two CoreLogics in there. It's going to the same place. We just had 2 AP files for them. And what it is overpayment of summer taxes. So we're just refunding that money back to them because those taxes were paid.
I got another question, Sarah. Bayview loan servicing?
That was
What's
another overpayment of taxes. The taxes were paid, so we refunded the payment to them.
Okay. And
What about, go ahead, Mayor.
I assume that state of Michigan MDOT 328, that relates to South Elmer Street?
Yes, that is correct.
What is this Census USA?
That is the annual software system for our water reading gun. The annual support software for it.
Got it. Those are my only questions.
Are there any additional questions?
Did anybody know how many domestic cases we had in the month of August alone?
Too many.
Scary. Absolutely scary in 1 month.
Are there any additional questions? Entertain a motion on the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second it.
Support.
Got motion and support. Okay, Sarah?
Paul,
Yes.
Jones Holubek,
Yes.
Rick Walt, White,
Yes.
Zavitz,
Yes.
Eschenbacher,
Yeah.
Mayor Green.
Yes, motion carried. Moving on to the regular agenda. Carol Winterfest contracts, page 38 through 42. Matt,
Yeah, I met with the folks from Caro Winterfest. I'm forgetting her name off the
Chris
top.
Reinelt.
Yes. And they are planning their next Winterfest. The contract you have in front of you is essentially the same as last year, with the exception that they are trying to get the weather down a little bit better. So they pushed it back a couple weeks to try to hit some snow. Other than that, nothing has changed in here from the previous year, and they're just looking for the approval so that they can start planning and get the folks from the snowmobile races involved to start getting everything lined up, set up, and bring in some economic boost to the community.
does anybody have any questions? It's basically the same thing or as we do with the Pumpkin Fest, cards and crafts or anything else.
Are they still? Hold on.
Yes?
No, I'm just. Okay, so mid-February. So we are still asking them to have their insurance in place a month or before the event.
Yes.
So I guess I would move that we award their contract.
If that's your motion, is there support?
I'll
I'll
support.
support it.
We got a motion and support. Are there any further discussion? Okay, Sarah?
Jones Holubek,
Yes.
I gotta turn this off, so I gotta.
Wow.
Rick Walt, White,
Yes.
Zavitz,
Yes.
Eschenbacher,
Yeah.
Paul,
Yes.
Mayor Green.
Yes, motion carried. Number 2, resolution proclaiming October 2020 as a Michigan Library Appreciation Month, pages 43 through 44. This is to recognize our library in this town and the board for everything that they do for this area. It's a National Library Month all over the state, just not here for the month of October. That's, pardon?
The only thing I saw when I was reading through this is that maybe if we're going to approve this as the board and as the council, we should change that line in the last paragraph that says during this time, I encourage to during this time, we encourage all residents. But other than that, I would totally be on board with making a motion if we could change that one word.
Sounds okay with me.
Absolutely.
Is there support?
I'll
Yeah,
support.
support.
Who supported that? I'm sorry.
I did.
All right. Motion to approve the resolution with the revision.
Yes. Roll call.
Rick Walt,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Zavitz,
Yes.
Eschenbacher,
Yeah,
Paul,
Yes.
Jones Hollebeck,
Yes,
Mayor Green.
Yes, motion carried. Number 3 is set Halloween trick or treat hours, This year trick or treat falls on a Saturday. What were our normal hours, Sarah?
Our normal hours is 6 PM to 7:30 PM.
It's always worked out in the past, right?
Yes,
So let's just keep it there, 6 to 7:30.
make a motion, say your motion.
That's my motion.
I'll support
I'll
it.
support it.
Is there any further discussion? What's the date? Is that the 30th or 31st?
31st.
31st.
Saturday, the 31st.
Saturday. Okay. Roll call.
White,
Yes.
Zavitz,
Yes.
Eschenbacher,
Yeah,
Paul,
Yes.
Jones Hollebeck,
Yes,
Rick Walt,
Yes.
Mayor Green.
Yes, motion carried. Number 4, resignation of the planning commission member, Jim Wedling, page 45. How long has he been on there, Sarah? Do you have any idea? He's been on there quite a while, I know.
He's been on there quite a while. I'm not sure of when he first started.
Yes,
3 years, I'm guessing.
I can't remember how long
Yeah.
it is. What are your wishes?
is this something where we should, I mean, the length of time bears out that we should probably come up with a resolution at some point?
Yes, or something, thank you, yes. But we first have to accept his resignation with regrets.
Regrets, absolutely.
Well, I guess my
Motion,
question
Tisha.
is there any chance we're gonna be going back to in-person meetings at any point that he might consider staying on?
Yeah,
mean,
just throw-
It sounds to me like the only reason he's leaving is because of the Zoom meetings and not being comfortable doing those meetings. And I hate to lose somebody just because of Zoom meetings.
Or see, I don't know if he doesn't have a computer or what, or a laptop to do a Zoom meeting.
Right. He's old like me, so he's not real computer savvy, probably.
Well, he should have been on the job he had beforehand.
Right, but he always had workers that did all that stuff for him.
Yeah, does everybody know what Jim did in his other life? Jim was a trooper, a state trooper.
State
Oh.
police in Bay City.
Yeah, he was a state trooper. That's his other life.
So can we ask him if the only reason he's leaving is because of the Zoom?
We could, yes. We could table it for now.
You know, I think good people are hard to get, and if Zoom meetings are the only reason we're losing him, we should work with him.
You want to make a
Has
motion?
anybody talked to him?
I have not.
You want to make a motion to
Who's on that
table it?
committee?
I would make the motion to table it for tonight.
Alvin's on that committee.
This is the first I heard of it. We don't have another meeting until tomorrow.
Gotcha.
Perfect timing.
Jill made a motion to table it. Is there support?
I'll support that. And can we direct, I guess, Matt or Sarah to maybe make a call to Jim and see which way he wants to go, and then they can advise from there?
Or ask him
I mean,
if
if he,
that's,
if he just wants to sit this out, maybe we can get another month under our belt, and we can go back to live meetings, regular meetings. Yeah, maybe he could sit this out for a little bit. I mean, I got no problem with him staying, as long as when they do have a meeting, though, they have a quorum,
or maybe we could team him up or somebody with
or
a
maybe we could team him up with
laptop.
somebody.
Yeah, you could sit, two people could sit on it at the same time.
Yes, that would be
great.
workable too. So I guess, yeah, I'll support it as long as we can contact him and ask him what his wishes really truly are. If that's all he wants is just to get out of the stupid Zoom meeting, I don't like him either, but here we are.
Yep, I'll contact him. We'll talk to him about it.
Yeah, just kind of ask him, Matt, or something,
Motion.
We got a motion and support. Any further discussion? Okay, Sarah,
Zavitz,
Yes, sorry, Sarah.
Eschenbacher,
Yeah,
Hall,
Yes.
Jones Hollebeck,
Yeah,
Rickwalt,
Yes.
White,
Yeah,
Mayor Green.
yes, motion carried. Number 5, reschedule November council meeting date. Sarah?
Yes, so the next the November council meeting, the first one is the day before the election. So unfortunately, I'm going to be pretty busy that day. So I would appreciate if we can reschedule that meeting to either the following Thursday or following Monday after that.
no, Sarah.
Following Monday would be best.
The following Monday, correct?
to count
Yes.
some stuff.
Want to make the motion? Is that your motion?
That's my motion, the following Monday.
support.
Got motion and support. Any further discussion? Okay, Sarah?
What's the date on that, Sarah?
That is November 9th.
Right, 11/9.
Yes.
Okay.
Eschenbacher,
I shouldn't, but okay.
Hall,
Yes.
Jones Hollebeck,
Yes, I think.
Rickwalt,
I think that's the day my
Yes.
phone's having.
White,
Yeah,
Zavitz,
Yes,
Mayor Green.
Yes, motion carried.
Thank you all.
Number 6, CARES Act grant acceptance, page 46. Matt?
Yeah, we applied for some money through the CARES Act and we received it last week. And I wanted to, for the benefit of any auditor who might look at it, I wanted council to go ahead and accept that officially so that we can cross the T's and dot the I's and make sure that we can spend that money. This week, the first responder hazard pay portion of that will go out to the police and firefighters in the payroll system, and that the 91,536, we received half of that. Treasury said that we'll get the other half in the future, but we were awarded that amount, and that just goes to offset the cost of payroll for April and May. So it puts over $90,000 back into the general fund. And so, yeah, we received that money.
nice.
I'll make a motion to accept it.
Support.
Motion, is that motion to accept option one, motion and support?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
Any further discussion? Okay, Sarah?
Paul,
yes,
Jones Hollebeck,
Yes.
Rick Walt,
Yes,
White,
Yes.
Zavitz,
Yes.
Eschenbacher,
Yeah.
Mayor Green.
Yes, motion carried. Items tabled and pending, council laptop purchase. And Sarah, it was going to cost about how much? Just under 5,000?
Yes, $4,550.
And I didn't have time to look it up, but in the council training budget, didn't we normally have money there to go to our conferences, MML and everything? And this year, doesn't seem like we're going to any. This fall, we haven't gone to any. So there's money in the council's budget that's not going to be used for sending us places.
What do we spend on these packet that we give to all the board members? What's that cost us for prior to the
cost of-
meetings?
Just the cost of paper and ink. I wouldn't know exactly, but it would be probably, I mean, we spend $200 on paper a quarter, so
But then it's your time or somebody's time to put the packets together, enveloped or police to get them out,
yep.
stuff like that too, so. It's just
Isn't
not,
that in the charter though?
pardon,
Isn't that in the charter though?
what? I don't follow you.
Packets have to be delivered to council members?
I'm not sure.
Does the packet have to be paper or can it be electronic? Does it specify that it's a paper packet?
Well, I assume if it has to be handed in person to someone, it doesn't mean handing you a computer.
I don't get mine handed to me. It's in my mailbox.
Mine's in between my storm door and the door.
Right.
it's between the storm door and the door. In the
I'm
last
not
couple
aware of
months,
anything in the charter that specifies that. I know there's specifications on if there's a special meeting that needs to be hand delivered out. I'm not sure about the packet itself.
You want to leave it tabled until we get more information?
I understand. Didn't who do we use? Who's our IT guy?
R&R Technical Services, Randy Whitaker.
And he kind of already ordered these, didn't he?
Well, he ordered them for his own supply.
Oh, okay.
So
But yes,
has he gone ahead and sold them to somebody else or done something else with them, or is he just waiting on us?
I'm not sure. From the last I've heard, he was still waiting for them to be delivered.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because computers are hard to come by nowadays. And
Yes, they were a good deal for him, so that's why he also ordered them just in case, because he knew he could use them other places if we didn't use them.
like the print documents, just for when we have maps or other zoning issues. It's nice to see the hard copy. Not that special arrangements couldn't be made for those, but I guess I'm just a person that likes to make notes and jot on the paper form.
Well, I guess if we want to print them ourselves, we can. We can print them from the from the pack, from the electronic packet.
I'm gonna make the motion that we proceed with these, that we get them.
Yeah, motion, is there support?
I'll support it.
We got motion and support. Any further discussion? All I know is that the county commissioners use them, except one commissioner still request a hard copy of paper. And I know the hospital board uses them. And I'm not positive, but I thought I heard the school board uses them too,
I'm assuming that when we're back meeting in person, we can bring the laptop with us to the meeting. We can see the agenda pages on our laptop sitting in the meeting and follow along or do whatever we want to do with them, just the same as we would paper, correct?
Right.
Yes, and also like the commissioners do it, they put it up on their big screen too. So the audience can see it too and go
Nice.
through it.
Nice.
Are there any further discussions? Okay, I would like to move ahead with it and to keep our technology up current. Okay, Sarah?
Hollenbeck,
No,
Rickwalt,
Oh,
White,
Yeah.
Zavitz,
Yes.
Eschenbacher,
No.
Hall,
Yes.
Mayor Green.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Moving on to committee liaison position reports. You had the DDA. It's in your packet. Parks and Rec was in your packet. The EDC, you had the list of projects they're working on. And I don't know if everybody knows, we had one new business that had a soft opening last Friday in Caro, a ladies dress shop there. So it's been a long time since we had a new business open up in Caro. And I just encourage everybody to go down that list and see what the EDC is doing, And there's a new Caro restaurants under the work to going to be a Mexican restaurant. It's in the works and it's still in the planning stage. Are there any other questions on any of the other EDC working projects? They were going to have a grand opening tour down in, but then it got canceled since you can't have that many people at a place. So they postponed it. Are there any other questions on any of the other ones? Okay, mayor's report.
did we add the,
The Jake break-in, yes, Matt, could you talk
Yeah.
about that?
well,
Yeah,
go ahead, Matt.
yeah, we contacted MDOT. They said that they don't typically allow signs up unless we have an ordinance that's strictly enforced. So if we can either put something in a noise ordinance or create a jake breaking ordinance, then we can submit that to MDOT and they would be willing to put the signs up in the proper locations for that.
I believe the last time that we brought it up, that we advised our city manager to get with our city attorney to see about wording something and presenting it back to us.
To get an ordinance going, you mean, Brian?
I thought
Yeah,
last time we talked about it, people told me it wasn't a problem.
That was 2 years ago, Tisha. But sometimes things take time. And I didn't think it was a problem at that time. And then when I got the email and started paying more attention to it, and happened to be working in the area, it is a concern. Especially for the residents that do live along the M24 and M81 in those routes.
Well, you should have been here on Almer Street while the Flow Boys were paving. They were using Almer Street and they were using their Jake brake. Every truck was right down Almer Street, right in the subdivision.
And that's a low speed zone anyway.
Yeah, I know. I hear you.
Should we give directions to Matt to get other Jake breaking ordinances and get with our attorney to do an ordinance for Jake breaking?
Yes, please.
Is that our direction we want to give them?
Yes.
Everybody concerned? Everybody in the same thinking?
Brian, do you want to make that motion?
Yes, I'll make that motion.
Is there support?
I'll
I'll
support it.
support it.
We have motion and support. Any further discussion?
What attorney are we gonna use?
Mr. Cruz, I would recommend. He's our city attorney.
He didn't answer last time.
Did we direct him last time? Or did
I'm
it
not
not
sure.
make it to Gary Cruz last time?
I would,
There was no direction last time. We were just gonna look at and check with MDOT.
I would talk to Gary Cruz and it's, to me, it sounds real simple. We could just make an ordinance that no J breaking inside the city limits, period.
Yeah, and it'd be easy to see what other cities have and just basically use the wording from theirs and get it to reword it for us.
Right.
Then we gotta go through the motions of, first reading, second reading and stuff like that.
Well, if it's an ordinance, you have to by law go through those motions, so.
Yes. Any other questions? Okay, Sarah?
Rickwalt,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Zavitz,
Yes.
Eschenbecker,
Yeah.
Paul,
Yes.
Jones Hollebeck,
Yeah,
Mayor Green.
Yes. Motion carried.
how long of a timeline are we giving him to respond before we just say, screw it and find another lawyer?
That would be for Matt to talk to him about what type of time frame he needs and what information Matt gives him. If Matt gives him a couple ordinance already and just rework it for us, it shouldn't be that long. I don't feel.
It shouldn't take long. The only problem is Gary has trouble with responding to us generally. So I'll try to do as much of the work up front as I can so that he can look at it and say yay or nay.
Okay. Okay, moving on to the mayor's report. You don't have it in writing, but I think it's about time, Bob, we need a finance meeting to talk about trash.
Trash?
The garbage, how we're going to, what we should do to bid it out and what should be our options or what we should talk about because the end of the year is coming soon, so
When's their contract expire?
end of the year.
December 31st it expires.
So when would you like to set a meeting up, Bob?
Well,
Next week?
who's finance with me? Tisha and
I can't do next week at all. Between the convention in the morning and working every night next week, I can't do it.
It may be hard to know exactly what we want until we know the prices for the things, for certain things. Which I don't know if that's something we want to include in the RFP, just not so much committing to certain services, but knowing the prices of certain services.
Let's see, there was some talk about, do we need yard waste pickup at all?
Right.
Should we just keep our dump open on every Saturday in mornings, each Saturday morning,
No, we
Talk
need, we
about-
We
need
need yard
yard
waste.
waste.
We
but,
need yard
talk
waste.
about these options, is recycling. I know the other year I counted number of bins out in recycling. I would say we're not even
Not
going
bad.
to 10% of our households are recycling.
I don't believe for a minute that the recycling containers that are in my recycling bin go to recycling. I think they just get added to the garbage. We may be paying a premium for recycling, but I don't believe for a minute that those items are going to recycling.
But then we
I
have
might
our,
tend to agree with you.
we have the whole county recycling center right here in Caro too, so.
I would much rather ask people to go to the recycling center with their stuff as opposed to going to the dump with their yard waste.
Because see, everything we have every week, like what we have now, they have to run three separate trucks around town every week. And running trucks and people cost money. Even if they don't pick up very little.
Right.
So that's why I was figuring the finance meeting, we need to talk about what are we going to bid out and how we're going to bid it out. What
Like
are,
you said, Sarah, we need a breakdown of the different services and what those costs are so we can look at it intelligently.
Right.
Right, could we have an in-house person do the yard waste during the summer and then maybe use them during the winter with some of the snow removal in the businesses and stuff? I mean, is there enough in what we pay for the yard waste removal to have another guy?
or the yard waste.
Let him
drops
go
off
around town and pick it up?
What's he gonna put it in?
a truck and haul
You
it
know,
out.
you have an easy dump trailer and let the truck haul it. So we purchased an easy dump trailer and we got a guy that goes around town pick up yard waste one day a week, and we hit, and he does other stuff, other maintenance stuff for the city. That's not being done now, that's being neglected, and we want to send outhouse it.
We used to have a truck parked down at City Hall that was used as a compactor. That's going back about 10, 12 years ago, but there was one parked right there.
Years
people
and
had to
years
take
ago,
their
the city
stuff
did
too?
their own garbage pickup too.
I'd just like to see what we're paying for yard waste, Mr. Joe Green. Just
Yes.
for the simple fact is, I mean, if we're paying a premium from the pickup yard waste, maybe that's money that we can use to hire another person for the city.
Because they only do yard waste, I think, from May through, is it through November or through October? I can't
Middle of
remember.
November, I think.
End of November.
End of
In
November.
November.
And
Certainly
it depends on
something
the
to look
fall,
into.
how fast the leaves come down.
Right.
See, in the fall, we already are sucking up all of the leaves ourselves. So we're
When does
doing
that start?
what?
The lead vacuuming?
They've been
That-
running around town some already.
Okay.
But see, in the fall, we're doing the bulk of it already.
The leaf pickup's gonna start the first week in October.
That's what I thought. Thank you.
That's just a couple weeks.
So that's why I was thinking about finance meeting, we need to talk about the options and stuff.
I still think, not to change the subject thing, and I brought this up last year, is we don't have a date for what date do we start snow removal? We start snow removal when it starts snowing, but we have a date for leaves. Why don't we start sweeping leaves when they start falling like 2 weeks ago?
That's
Just
what I
a,
said, that's
just
why I
a
saw them
suggestion.
go, that's why I saw the truck go around.
Okay. Right, but we can't put our leaves out on the road right now.
No,
Exactly, but they're falling right now. I've been blowing leaves for 2 weeks. Just an idea. I just can't never figure out why we have a date for leaves, but not a date for snow. That'd be like saying we're gonna start plowing snow December 20th. Sorry if it snows earlier, but that's when we start.
Is there a way for Matt to put together pricing on the services that we're currently getting before you guys have your finance committee meeting? So you guys are actually looking at data in front of you?
And also, I'm not sure how our contract reads. I had to pull it out to see. But he should be able to pull out what Vassar I know just recently bid out their stuff. Pull out our neighboring towns and see what they're getting and how their contracts are. Because other towns have the same services too. Some of them have as much as we do, some have less. So at least we have something to look at. Yes, we should have information.
But are some of them having the issues that we're having with garbage trucks hitting signs and garbage trucks hitting barriers and garbage trucks hitting, not doing the work that they were asked to do? And
Closing
We
gates.
have dumpsters all over town that aren't being emptied on a regular basis. It's pathetic.
I mean, like, are they getting the same non-services as we are?
I would say, yeah. The companies, they're dependent on their employees.
Yeah.
One bad employee can give a sour taste to the whole entire community really easily.
Very easy.
So, yeah, I mean, I've seen Waste Management have issues. I've seen Republic have issues. Sitting in Millington on the township, they had issues with Republic, banging into the cans, throwing them in the ditches, throwing them in the middle of the streets. I've seen the same kind of issues that we have here in Caro. The company is relying on its employees. I mean, one bad employee can give a sour taste to a lot of people quickly. I think it's kind of widely spread amongst all the garbage companies. They have issues at times.
Or is there something we can put into contract that we can penalize them? The reason that happens, I heard a lot, is these guys that run the trucks, when they finish their route, they can go home and call it a day. The faster they do their route, the faster they will get to go home.
That's correct.
That's why they rush.
I can send an email out to the fellow clerks in my county clerks association and see if they can share their current contract with us and how they like their service.
That would be great.
That's what I remember not too long ago reading about Vassar's, if I remember right.
I know Vassar Township has a disastrous relationship with their garbage people. In the township. I don't know about the city, but the township is a disaster.
But what are we dealing with? We're going to deal with, is it 3 or 4 companies? There's Mterra, Republic, Waste Management. I can't think of another one. There might be another one. There aren't that many out there.
Right.
So do we want to wait till Sarah and Matt gets this information all gathered up and then we'll make a meeting?
I would appreciate it. We just had 2 people quit at work, and then on top of that, we have our MML conference next week. So when I'm not in MML conference next week, I'll be at work. So I wouldn't.
Do we want to do this like before our next meeting on a regular Monday night so everybody can be there?
The next meeting is the 5th.
So she's got to work all week. I mean, it's not fair to her to work all week.
Yeah.
She's going to the conference. I have to work all week this week, unfortunately. Our next meeting would be the best, and then we can talk about it, and then give Sarah and Matt time to get all those prices.
Now we could put it on as an agenda item next meeting too.
We could.
Either way.
Are you
I just
suggesting
want
we
Tish
do
to
it?
be involved with this because she's on the Finance Committee.
Right, are you suggesting we do this prior to the regular meeting, Bob?
Yeah, yeah, like at say 6:30.
That sounds good to me.
Would that be all right with you, Tish?
Yeah, that would be fine as if we're doing it on a Monday because
Yeah, Monday nights before our regular council meeting, we'll sit down and talk about this.
I always have time on Mondays off.
Right.
Always.
And that gives Sarah time to get it up and Matt to get up our prices, what we're paying right now and things like
Right.
that, and get the information we've asked for gathered up.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be perfect.
Okay, then. Then October 5th at 6:30 finance.
Yes.
Okay. Then another point of discussion I would like to bring up, I heard quite a few council people talk about that. Like the second meeting in the month when we have all the department heads reports, having all of the department heads at our meeting to attend our meeting. So we could ask some questions directly and stuff, or they could respond right then.
What happened? We used to do that,
Yes.
and then it stopped.
We could just ask that they attend the meetings when they do their reports. Is that a wish of all the council people?
I would like to see that.
I would like to see that.
Yep.
On whose dime? It's their
Pardon?
time. They're salaried employees. So are we expecting them to show up at the meetings for free? Sit
Oh,
through a
they're-
meeting and listen to everything?
We don't get overtime.
Yeah, I'm talking
Salary.
the department heads.
And I understand that, but you're gonna have the department heads come to a meeting. You expect them to give up their time freely?
Yes,
So is that gonna be part of their job description?
yes,
Can be.
it can be.
I think it needs to be.
How did it work out before? Because I know when I first started, they were all at the meetings at least once a month and explained.
I was gonna say when I covered it before, they would routinely be in there.
Right.
I don't know about every month, but I know that routinely the department heads were there explaining themselves, explaining what they needed, explaining why they were. I mean,
But that hasn't happened over a year.
Well, it needs
That
to start
happened.
happening again.
What happened? They quit.
We don't know this answer, but it needs to go back to the way it was.
I liked it that way.
Well, I would imagine it's probably due to the amount of hours that they're putting in. They're contracted to do 50 hours a week. So are they putting their 50 hours a week in the
Alright,
office and out in the field?
So they could do 49 hours a week and then they can spend an hour with us.
I'm
not
good with that.
if all we're expecting them to do is to be there for the time of their report, they don't even have to stay the whole meeting.
No,
All
they
we're
don't.
asking them to do is explain their report.
Correct.
I would agree with that, but I don't think they should have to do it on their own time. I don't think they should have to come outside of their salary, contracted salary. I think it's unfair to expect them to sit in a meeting. That's not what they signed up for. They signed up for other things. I mean, if it's part of their contract and it's what's expected, that's one thing. But to go to them now, once they're already in a contract with us, and tell them, this is what's expected of you. We expect you to be at the meetings. You're going to give your time freely. I think that's unfair.
But if
Well, I
I
think we-
remember,
None of us sitting here in the working force would go to work. If our work came to us tomorrow and said, you're going to start going to meetings at 7:30 on the first Monday and the second Monday, or the third Monday of the month, we would all be upset, especially if we were told we weren't going to be paid for it.
We're not
That's
asking,
But when
we're
I
not
was a
asking for
reporter-
two, we're just asking for one. And we're also
Okay.
saying that if they want to work 49 hours and give us 1 hour, then that's fine too.
if I remember right, they're salary employees. They do not have a set number of hours a week to
Right.
work. Right, Matt?
Yes, that is true.
The-
And I want to come back to a comment that was made about Matt leaving early on a Friday. When he attends numerous meetings and gives tons of his time, And there was a comment on one of his evaluations that he left early on a Friday when he had probably already given his time that week. So now next we're going to have the superintendent of the DPW when he leaves early one day because he has a meeting that he's expected to be to, and he's going to be criticized for leaving early because he's already got his time in and he's got to go to a meeting. That's all I'm saying, guys. I'm not against it. I'd like to see him here to explain these reports because they're terrible reports. And I think it's a necessity for them to be at the meetings. But I don't think they should have to give up their free time or be criticized later on because they leave early one day because they've already got their time in.
I'm just saying Chief Heckroth has come in several times to explain the blight situation. He's come in several times to explain why we need a new JAWS. He's come in several times to talk about the new fire engine, all after hours. We've had other department heads that have come in after hours to talk about their departments and haven't said a word about how it's cutting into their time. So I don't know why, like, all of a sudden the rest of them have said, you know what, never mind, we don't need to do this anymore.
I feel we should start to try it, starting next month to try it and see how it goes. See if we need them every month or every other month or what, just for the meeting that they give their report.
If they have a problem with it, rotate them. Don't ask all of them to come every month. Rotate them.
Yeah,
Say, okay, you three come in this month, you three come in next month, you three, or rotate meetings. Okay, you two come this meeting, you two come next meeting, you two come that meeting. Like, so that we get an overall picture every few months of what everybody is doing. Like, it doesn't have to be every department head every second meeting of our month, but I mean, we should see our department heads. I mean, they're responsible to Matt overall, but they're ultimately responsible to us because we're responsible to the people. So,
But if the department heads are regularly there, I would like to put out there that if inquiry only would be the interaction they would have with council.
right.
So
Right.
they can't, we can't have them come to council and all of a sudden they leave with 10 projects to do because that's not productive for them.
no, it's not that we give them direction or orders, ask questions about their reports and their departments.
Yeah, that I don't have a problem with whatsoever, and I didn't know that it was done that way in the past. They had, to my knowledge, they hadn't been doing it for quite a while before I arrived. So I could certainly talk to them, and maybe they would want to be here to explain their reports, because I think sometimes they feel like they wish they would have been there to defend themselves on some things.
I would recommend we try it next month and the second meeting of the month and take it from there on out. Okay, Matt?
Just
Okay.
see who's willing.
Pardon?
Just see who's willing.
Yes, or because I'm pretty sure in their contracts, it's not, they do not have a set hours or anything. They're salary employees. And also we're doing Zoom meetings now. As long as we keep that up. Okay, moving on. I would like to thank the people who took care of the plants all summer and those pots and watering them. And Matt, I think we have some old fire hydrants at DPW, don't we? I think we have some junk ones there. Some people are talking about planting a couple of those inside of the dog park.
Yeah,
Old fire hydrants. I think we have.
Yeah, I'll ask Jeff to see if we have some. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's some other people. It says some simple things to be in there to start. And it looks like the dog park's going to be completed this week. And I would like to schedule with the Parks and Rec and the council like a ribbon cutting ceremony and first couple dogs going in there. And the Parks and Rec people, I don't know if you read that, they're working on trying to figure out the rules and stuff, not to make it a thing just that you clean up after your dog and we're not liable for anything, there'll be some more rules than that, but those are the main ones. And somebody brought up, well, even before the meeting, we were talking about if we should do corn stalks throughout town, and Tish was saying there was the Boy Scouts or somebody did it the other years about putting them up and charging business owners for it and stuff. But if we want, since before and now, other days, the Pumpkin Festival used to put up all the corn stalks, and then we asked them to leave them up throughout the month of October, unless it got a lot of wind and stuff and they got to whip it apart.
Do we know who the Pumpkin Festival got the corn stalks from?
No, I don't. I know one year I helped cut them and everything and pick off all the ears of corn off them. I don't know if it was over at Tuzek's farm or what, I think we can find corn stalks if we need corn stalks. Another thing, we had a meeting with the Caro Center. Matt has that in the report. Things are moving along on that. How is row engineering coming along with the plans on that? Do you know, Matt? Or I think Mike is on too.
Yeah, I think Mike's going to talk.
Sorry, what was the question, Joe?
How are you coming with the plans and stuff on the water line? Does the Caro Center have any major problems or issues?
We got a preliminary layout established in the route that we had looked at with the DPW 2 years ago, and that identified I don't know what 9-10 easements, I think, that we did some sketches for, and Matt is working on reaching out to those property owners so we can get started with an easement process. We're sort of stuck until we can hone in on whether or not we're going to obtain these easements, or if we're going to have to try to find a way around those properties, which could require us to switch sides of the road or something like that. So we've kind of stopped the design until we can secure the route.
Okay, thank you, Mike. That's about the end of my comments. Okay, move on to manager's comments.
Yeah, I submitted written comments, but I'll identify some of the highlights. The police building has started. I'm sure everybody's noticed. They're working on, there's some bricks set up ready for the masons to start on that. The water, the splash pad is on its way. The DPW is putting in water and sewer lines. We're having the electrical moved to the backside where we're placing the control boxes. The dog park is on its way. They didn't realize it, but when they got on site to put the fence up, they were missing about 300 feet of chain link. So they would have been done last week, but they're waiting on the additional chain link to come in, and they should be able to get that up this week. I started the process with Michigan Rural Water for a water sewer rate study. They requested a bunch of information, so we'll be sending that off to them and scheduling a time for them to come and spend some time in the city looking at the water and sewer departments. They'll spend some time with Jeff and Curtis to determine, all the costs that go into it and the maintenance and updates and all that stuff. So that's in motion. Line striping started last week. The Symbol folks are here today. We actually had to have them come back to redo North Frank Street. They put the parking lane too far over, and so they're coming back. They're going to have to erase one of the white line and one of the yellow lines and move them over because there wasn't enough room for the parking lane. So unfortunately, they'll be coming back for that. The rest of the work they did was really good. So we're
I
quite
got a
happy.
question, Matt. Are they going to do a lot of crosswalks too?
They're going to be doing some crosswalks. They have different crews that come in for each segment. So the lines themselves was the truck. Then they
Okay.
have a symbol crew, and then they bring someone else in for the crosswalks.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. And I guess that's it. I don't want to spend too much time going down the list, but those were the highlights from the last week or so.
Matt, has anyone looked at that corner where I sent you the picture to see if that sidewalk might be cracked?
Yeah, we went over and looked at it. It doesn't appear like there's any damage.
Okay, because there was some dust and maybe some other stuff on there, like this morning when I went by it. So I just wanted to make sure.
Okay. Yeah. It looked okay.
Okay.
And I have a question. What happened at your meeting with the county and animal control? They're going to come and trap cats?
Well, they're going to work with a nonprofit organization to see if they have some ideas on how we can address the cat issue. They actually did go in, animal control did go in and capture some cats and neuter and release them out at a farm. So and I think that was on Gibbs Street. So they are trying the best they can, I guess, to do that. We're talking about having like a working group where we meet frequently on Zoom to talk about the issues that are going on. They are kind of spearheading organizing with the nonprofit organization. So that was the outcome of that. And so it'll be an ongoing conversation with them to see how we can move forward. Yeah.
Any other questions for Matt? Okay, Sarah?
Summer property taxes were due on the 15th. Staff did a great job getting all those payments processed. I noticed there was an uptick in the amount of payments received compared to last year. Front staff and I attended training sessions last week on our financial software, which was very beneficial for all of us because some of us are new. We spent the day mailing out absent voter ballots. We mailed out about a little over 750 today. And I don't know if many of you noticed, but at City Hall, we installed a drop box that we received from the state that is for official ballots only. So we will see that starting to get used more. If anyone's uncomfortable mailing their ballot, they're welcome to drop it off in that drop box. And I want to remind you all too about the MML convention. That's September 30th to October 2nd.
Are there any questions for Sarah?
I just had a question. Were any ballots of ours that were mailed out the incorrect ballots with the I'm sure
No.
you've been made aware of what happened with some overseas service ballots.
We
Just wanted to
received
make sure none that we did had that problem.
Nope, ours were all correct when I mailed those out.
Thank you.
Okay. If there's no additional comments or questions for Sarah, additional public comments. Bob?
Yeah, how's the roadhouse coming along? Are we making any headway with this?
Yeah, it's in my report. We have to replace the water heater, replace some of the pipes, and then it turns out that the vents in the crawl space were actually fake from the outside.
Really?
Yeah, so we have to get with a contractor to find out what we need to do to vent that so that moisture can't build up down there. They're actually working this week. They have to get some supplies to go up to the second floor to fix the wooden area on the back. And then now that South Elmer's finished, we're going to work with the Roadhouse to find out what they want to do with the outside of the building because part of it is missing the siding.
Correct.
And they wanted to wait until all the dust was gone. So we're going to get back with them and find out how they want to approach that. And then the heating and cooling person, we're going to, once they replace the hot water heater, we're going to get the Roadhouse folks in there to learn how the dehumidifier works.
Okay, so they understand how to turn it on, off.
Yep. So they learn how to, because they want to keep
Okay.
that those historical items,
Right.
fresh. Yeah.
So my next question is how is the city digging holes with what? We asked for a backhoe or prices or whatever,
Mhm.
and we've come up with nothing for the last 3 meetings. So what are they using?
Well, they're using demo units. So they're using they used 3 demo units on excavators, and now they're working with a backhoe to identify what the DPW wants to recommend that we go with, either leasing, purchasing, or if council wants them to just fix the one they have. So that's coming. They're not done doing their due diligence yet on that. They're just testing stuff out. But they've been using that to get their projects finished using the demo units, because the current backhoe the digging arm is
Broke.
not safe to use. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, we brought up the wastewater treatment plant, that $150,000 that we spent. That's a heck of a lot of money to spend on a learning curve. So we need to get some answers for that, if they can get motivated to get that together. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Bob, you told me you would get to the DPW report in your.
Well, I think we've already covered that there, Jill. I think if we have our department heads come and explain themselves once a meeting, or however we want to set this up, I do believe that would solve a lot of our problems. If they're not willing to do that, I don't know what we're going to do, but I really think that they need to be there to explain themselves. I think we've covered that already. They need to just come and say, look, this is what I've done. This is why it had to be done. I think if they would come and see us once in a while, and Matt, in an open meeting, maybe we wouldn't have $150,000 learning curve.
Okay.
Because we're kind of out of the loop on everything, and we need to be in the loop.
For sure.
We're the ones writing the checks. Remember, we're the ones that have to answer to the taxpayers of why we spent $150,000 to haul some waste away that should never have happened in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
So if we could have our department heads be there and explain why and what, why it happened, how is it going to be cured? I mean, I don't want to point fingers at nobody. Yeah, nobody's going to lose their job over this, but somebody's got to start explaining to us a little bit better than writing bullet points on a piece of paper and handing it to Sarah and walking away. Okay, so I think that will solve most of our problems, Jill.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, and we're going to try that next month. We're going to try that.
Yes.
Good.
Like in my former life, when I was dealing with new employees to make loans for houses or farms, a person never made a loan unless they made the loan, lived with it, serviced it, foreclosed on it, and wrote off money. And the person knew what they were doing. When you swear you did something right and then it turns out bad. Okay, any other
I do
council
see it.
people, any other persons have questions?
I see a hand raised. It's a phone number ending in 6138.
Okay,
Yes, on your Jake breaks, you need to be at the south end of town at 5:30 in the morning when the feed trucks come in. You'll see that it is a real problem.
Is this Mr. Charity?
Yes.
okay, thank you, Herb.
Joe? Joe's Mike Carpenter.
Okay, Mike?
I was just going to give you a quick update on Elmer Street. As Matt mentioned, it is almost finished. The traffic control barrels and whatnot are scheduled to be removed tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. So hopefully by noon, everything will be gone and it'll be open to traffic.
Awesome.
Can we have a ribbon cutting at the entrance to South Elmer Street?
Sure.
That's pretty exciting.
Any problems on, Mike, any problems on the farmer's market?
No,
Any issues?
no, not really. We've had a few things to deal with and a few surprises, but it's going okay. We got the sidewalk and curb and driveway work done along M81, so that was a good milestone to get out of there right away and concentrate on the site. I believe they started working this afternoon. I believe they started working on this storm sewer going to Adams, but I was out on another project all afternoon, so I won't know until tomorrow morning how that went or if it went. But so far so good. They're going to start pouring footings tomorrow. Actually, form up tomorrow and pour concrete Wednesday. So they're coming along.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
Mike, this is Bob. You still there, Mike?
Yeah.
How over did South Elmer go?
As far as the construction,
Yeah, did they go over by their 2 weeks or did they catch up a little?
no, they didn't catch up. They're about 3 weeks total over right now.
Okay, but they're done, right?
But they're done. I mean, they got some punch list work and maybe some more cleanup work, but for all practical purposes, they're done. The roadhouse yard area has been restored. The area down by the fairgrounds has been cleaned up and restored. And they've got most of their restoration on the road done. There's some areas that need to be touched up, and of course, some of it's not grown yet. If you've driven that road at all, the rain that was causing us not to pave it made it green. So it actually was green before it was black, if it was the joke. But what was hydro-seeded in advance of the paving is growing very well. Most people have mowed it at least once, if not twice already.
Okay.
Now it's the touch-up stuff that we got to get done.
All right. I was just wondering how far they went over.
Are there any more public comments?
I don't know if this is a public comment or if I should have addressed it when Matt was giving his report. But I went to Beach Park this weekend to just see what was happening with the splash pad. And while I was there, I took some pictures of 4 piles of crap that's behind the horse barn at Beach Park. And I sent those to Matt this morning requesting that they be dealt with. They've been on the agenda to be dealt with all summer. And now I'm reassured that they'll be dealt with before the splash pad opens next spring. Well, they've been on the agenda already for all summer. Why are we having to put them off now again until next summer? And I understand that you want to do a walkthrough with the fair board and you want to cooperate with the fair board and you want to work together with the fair board. Well, we've waited for them all summer for the graffiti on their building, the graffiti on their dumpster. I mean, that's not acceptable. It's our property. We lease that property to them and they need to be responsible to us for what that property looks like and how it's maintained. Enough is enough. We've got to clean it up.
Thank you, Jill.
You're welcome, Mr. Mayor.
Any other comments? Okay, entertain a motion.
I think Herb had his hand up again. Or was
Okay,
it not
Herb.
taken down?
I don't think it was taken down.
Okay,
I have nothing else.
okay. I just wanted to make sure because it still shows your hand as being raised, so.
Thank you.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll
So
make the motion to adjourn.
Second that.
Motion and support. Okay, Sarah?
White,
Yes.
Zavitz,
Yes.
Eschenbacher,
Yeah.
Paul,
Yes.
Jones Hollebeck,
Yes.
Rick Walt,
Yes.
Mayor Green.
Yes. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
Have
Have
a
a good
good
night.
night, evening.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Hi, Sarah.
Bye.